Mia had just moved into an old apartment on the outskirts of town. It was cheap, which she thought was a blessing, until the first night. Lying in bed, she noticed an odd feeling, like she was being watched. She shrugged it off, telling herself it was just her imagination in the unfamiliar space. But as the nights went on, the sensation grew stronger. One night, as she lay awake, she heard a faint tapping sound coming from the wall beside her bed. She pressed her ear against it, but the tapping stopped. Minutes later, it started again, closer this time, as if it were moving inside the walls. The next morning, Mia inspected the apartment, looking for pests or loose pipes. What she found made her stomach churn. Hidden behind a faded section of wallpaper, there was a small, crudely cut hole in the wall, just big enough for an eye to peek through. Her heart raced as she stared at it. It looked old, but the edges were smooth, as if someone had been using it recently. She quickly covered it with tape and tried to forget about it. That night, she woke to a scratching sound, louder than before. She turned on the light and froze. The tape she had placed over the hole was peeled back, dangling by a corner. Panicking, she shined her phone flashlight at the hole. For a split second, she swore she saw something move, something glossy, like an eye pulling back into the darkness. Terrified, Mia called her landlord the next morning. He brushed it off. "Old building," he said. "Probably mice." But Mia couldn't sleep. That night, she sat up with every light on, staring at the hole. At some point, exhaustion overcame her. When she woke, the room was pitch black. Her lamps had been unplugged. Her phone was missing, and the air felt suffocating. She turned toward the wall, and there it was, a wide, gaping hole. A face, pale and expressionless, stared back at her from within. It didn't blink. It didn't move. It just watched. And then, ever so slowly, it smiled.